we faithfully share value and interpret great books from around the world. Hi, I'm Sally from Book Talk. Today we're diving into the book Your Happiness Curve. It's subtitled Three Key Life Strategies to Know After Age 35. This book explores the topic of midlife crisis. Midlife crisis refers to when people hit middle age and deal with real issues in work, family, and health, causing feelings of sadness, anxiety, and uncertainty. Lately, hit shows like All Is Well and A Little Reunion have portrayed the stress of being sandwiched between aging parents and kids. These emotional challenges in midlife are increasingly widespread. Even folks at 35, supposedly in their prime, often feel really stressed. But is the low mood in midlife truly due to real-world issues? How can we make life less tough for those in midlife? Today's book will guide you to rethink midlife crisis. The author, Jonathan Rauch, is a Yale grad who's written for The Economist, New York Times, and Wall Street Journal. He won the National Magazine Award in 2005 and the National Headliner Award in 2010. At 45, Rauch went through a slump, feeling low, unaccomplished, with this vague discontent that eased by 50. After that, he grew calm and content, finding more satisfaction in life. This journey sparked his curiosity about what shifted inside him. He talked to experts in economics and psychology and discovered the happiness curve theory. Rauch thinks this theory uncovers the root causes of midlife crisis, aiding folks in handling midlife blues and embracing aging. The book is Rauch's full take on the happiness curve, earning rave reviews from experts post-launch. Renowned psychologist Steven Pinker called it heartwarming and wise, highlighting that life's best days are ahead. Well, Pulitzer winner Ellen Goodman sees it as a superb handbook for navigating midlife and beyond. I'll break it down into two parts for you. The book's key points. First, why middle-aged folks feel less happy. Second, how to deal with the midlife happiness slump. Let's start with part one. Why do middle-aged people feel less happy? Many see midlife as a tough time, full of emotional ups and downs, and science backs this up. British economist Andrew Oswald has been studying happiness-related topics since the 1990s. In 2008, he published a groundbreaking paper titled, Is Happiness U-Shaped Over the Life Cycle? This article analyzed happiness survey data from over 500,000 people across dozens of countries. Here, happiness means how satisfied someone is with their current life. Researchers ask people, compared to your best possible life, how would you rate your current life on a 0 to 10 scale? The results show age on the horizontal axis and happiness on the vertical axis. Their relationship forms a U-shaped curve. Take the US. Happiness starts at 7.5 at age 20, slowly drops, hits rock bottom around 45 at about 7. Then, happiness climbs back up, reaching 8 to 9 after age 80. Specific numbers vary by country. Some lows at 50, some minimums at 6, but the overall U-shaped pattern holds, with happiness bottoming out around 45 to 50. Oswald called this U-shaped curve the happiness curve. Oswald also examined antidepressant prescriptions across 27 European countries.
He found Europeans around 45 were most likely to take antidepressants, proving middle age is peak time for mental health struggles.
After Oswald's paper, other researchers replicated it with data from more countries. All these studies found the same U-shaped curve. So we can definitively say middle age is life's toughest phase. Why does happiness dip in midlife? Popular belief blames real-world problems. Kids failing school, parents hospitalized, career plateaus, marital issues, all piling up to cause anxiety, depression, and low mood. That sounds plausible, but the author disagrees. He personally hit the happiness curve low at 45 without any such troubles. Back then, he'd published multiple books, won prestigious journalism awards, and given countless speeches. He was healthy, financially secure, and had a great relationship, yet felt inexplicably dissatisfied, lamenting he hadn't achieved more.
Another study suggests deeper biological factors behind the midlife happiness dip.
Alexander Weiss, a chimpanzee expert, developed an assessment method to measure chimpanzee happiness through their social interactions and daily behaviors. Analyzing 336 chimpanzees, Weiss found their happiness also follows a U-curve, hitting its lowest point around human equivalent age 45 to 50. Yet chimpanzees face no real-world problems, no income worries or children's grades to stress about. In 2012, he co-published this research with Oswald. They concluded that biological factors shared by humans and great apes cause the midlife happiness decline. These biological factors relate to evolution, but how exactly does evolution lower happiness? After consulting experts across fields, the author identified two key factors. First, people tend to have unrealistically high expectations about the future. Neuroscientists find excessive future optimism is common. People believe good things will happen even without evidence. Students overestimate future earnings. Managers underestimate project timelines. Most believe they'll live longer than average and divorce less often. Life satisfaction depends partly on objective conditions, like income and health, and partly on whether reality meets expectations. Say I earn $20,000 monthly, plenty for daily needs. I should feel satisfied. But if I expected $40,000, I'd still feel unhappy and disappointed. Economists surveyed Germans aged 20 to 80 about 5-year expectations. The younger the person, the higher their predicted future satisfaction. For example, 25-year-olds predicted their satisfaction at 30 would be around 7.5. But at 30, their actual satisfaction averaged only 7. This reality expectation gap causes low mood and dissatisfaction. In our 20s, though, this gap doesn't hit hard. We remain hopeful, believing we have ample time to strive. Current setbacks feel like minor bumps. We believe hard work will eventually deliver the life we want, so low moods pass quickly, maintaining higher satisfaction. But as we age year after year, we realize life never meets our expectations, so dissatisfaction builds up. This leads to two outcomes. First, as dissatisfaction accumulates, our happiness gradually declines. Second, we become less optimistic and lower our expectations for the future. After 40, we feel too old for major career leaps. Our bodies decline, and we expect life to worsen, not improve. Future expectations drop below current levels. That's the midlife phase.
We're dissatisfied with unmet expectations, have accumulated regrets, and see no future hope. Trapped in dual disappointment.
So even without real problems, people still feel low, anxious, and discontent. Worse, this dissatisfaction self-reinforces since we rarely notice it stems from expectation gaps. We think, everything's fine, yet I'm unhappy. Is something psychologically wrong? This creates a negative loop. Feeling abnormal about our unhappiness makes us unhappier.
Life satisfaction keeps dropping.
Combined, these factors plunge people into the happiness curve's lowest point. Why are we prone to excessive optimism? Cognitive neuroscientists say it's evolutionary. Though over-optimism brings disappointment, optimism itself has benefits. Optimists face less stress, enjoy better health, take more action, and achieve better outcomes.
Studies show those who objectively predict futures without high expectations often show mild depression, lacking motivation.
Thus, optimism aids survival in progress, yet also causes the midlife happiness dip. The second factor is unconscious thinking that keeps us unsatisfied with achievements. Jonathan Haidt, renowned psychologist, divides thinking into two types: automatic unconscious thought and conscious rational thought. Unconscious thought helps quick decisions, like fleeing snakes or feeling disgust at filth. Unconscious thinking is the result of tens of millions of years of evolution in nature, with immense power. Haidt compares unconscious thinking to an elephant and rational thinking to an elephant rider. The elephant is huge and has its own desired destination. Often, the rider can't control the elephant's direction. Haidt notes that the elephant, representing unconscious thinking, aims not for our happiness, but for our survival. To pass on our genes. The elephant cares about whether we can gain social prestige and become life winners. This helps us acquire more resources, boost survival odds, and attract attention from potential mates. So, to the elephant, feeling satisfied with achievements isn't good. Satisfaction means halting progress and losing prestige. betraying its mission. Thus, the elephant uses tricks to stop the rider from enjoying success peacefully. For instance, under the elephant's sway, we feel excitement and joy when chasing new goals, a process called the progress principle, physically seen as dopamine release. Dopamine is a feel-good chemical. When we actively pursue a specific goal, the brain keeps pumping it out as a reward. Right after we finish an action, dopamine kicks in to make us feel great. When a goal's done and we stop acting, the dopamine reward stops too. To feel that high again, we gotta find a new goal and keep pushing. So the thrill from hitting goals doesn't last. Only by always chasing new ones can we stay happy. Plus, the elephant uses the adaptation principle to mess with our enjoyment of success. This means no matter if life gets better or worse, people adapt over time and bounce back to their baseline happiness. Baseline happiness is a person's default happiness level, set by genes. Some folks are born with higher levels, others lower. Say Xiao Wang and Xiao Zhang both have similar baselines. Then Xiao Wang wins 10 million in the lottery, while Xiao Zhang gets in a car crash and loses the use of his legs. Short term, Xiao Wang's happiness soars. Xiao Zhang's plummets. But a year later, both adapt to their new normal and their happiness returns to where it was. Under the influence of the adaptation principle, achieved feelings of accomplishment fade quickly. At 45, the author won the National Magazine Award, which is equivalent to the Pulitzer Prize in the magazine world. The author felt extremely proud and filled with a sense of achievement. But after a little over a week, the author started feeling unaccomplished again. Besides the progress and adaptation principles, the elephant also enjoys comparing with others. The elephant's goal is to make us gain higher prestige and more attention, which means outperforming others. So, we always focus on what others have accomplished that we haven't. Take the author. Even though he's reached the top level in journalism, he still complains about not measuring up to others. For example, he hasn't produced a TV show or written a novel. Rationally, he knows these were never his goals, but he just can't help thinking that way. This comparison mentality makes him more dissatisfied with life, triggering various emotional issues. All right, let's summarize the first part now. The relationship between happiness and age is a U-shaped curve, with the lowest point occurring during midlife around 45 to 50. There are two reasons for the happiness dip in midlife. One, people are naturally overly optimistic about the future. And two, unconscious thinking makes us unsatisfied with existing achievements. Now, in the second part, let's discuss how to cope with the midlife happiness low. The book introduces three major strategies. The first strategy is wisdom acquisition, specifically, becoming wiser to achieve happiness.
The curve shows that although midlife is the lowest point for happiness, it actually rises again in old age.
On one hand, this is because people generally have pessimistic expectations about old age, thinking life will worsen. So, when old age isn't as bad as expected, it feels satisfying.
On the other hand, after long life experiences and gaining rich insights, people become wiser and learn how to attain happiness.
By learning from the wisdom of the elderly, we can better navigate the midlife low. The book outlines a series of characteristics of wisdom. Here we'll focus on three features closely tied to happiness. First, the feature is focusing on others' interests and building closer relationships. When young, our values are self-centered, believing happiness depends on personal achievements, and always thinking about how to make ourselves more successful. But under unconscious thinking's influence, achievements don't effectively boost happiness. So what factors impact happiness most?
Economists found social factors matter most, meaning having strong relationships.
This impacts happiness more than health or income, like having support during tough times, being generous, receiving affection, building mutual trust, etc. Overall, closer relationships lead to higher long-term life satisfaction. After 50, many shift values from self-focus to others focus. The author's friend Sullivan started Daily Recipes website in his 30s, building a reader community. He achieved profitability while traditional journalism struggled, but at 51, Sullivan shut it down. He told the author the site caused work stress, writing, operations, data processing, all exhausting him. More importantly, Sullivan realized running the site no longer aligned with his values. He felt worldly ambition made him neglect family time, now his top priority. Professor Paul also underwent this transformation. He used to see life as a grand adventure, constantly setting higher goals for perfect career and family. But in his 40s, he grew anxious, overly concerned with others' opinions, feeling profoundly lonely. With psychiatric help, Paul emerged from his midlife low. His values transformed, once self-centered, now deeply empathetic, enjoying helping others. Now in his 50s, Paul helps Native Americans, developed educational programs preserving their history annually. He finds this more meaningful than anything he's done. He hopes his children will be proud not of his achievements, but of his care for others. Paul rates his current life satisfaction at 9, way higher than 6 in his 30s and 5 in his 40s. The second feature of wisdom is a practical attitude towards life. People learn what matters most to them. By adjusting priorities, they boost their happiness. The elderly prioritize differently than the young. Socially, studies show young people spend more time with new friends to build knowledge and connections, reducing future uncertainty, while the elderly focus on close friends and family, rarely making new acquaintances. This stems from their sense of limited time and desire for deep emotional support. A 50-something entrepreneur told the author he canceled all Silicon Valley business events to meet middle school friends instead. That mattered more to him. Beyond social priorities, the elderly also shift mental focus toward positive aspects. In one experiment, researchers showed faces to young and elderly participants. Some faces had positive expressions, others negative. Results showed the elderly remembered more positive faces than negative ones, compared to the young. Other psychologists found elderly couples argue with less anger and aggression than middle-aged couples, more readily express affection, boosting positivity and happiness. The third feature of wisdom is better emotional control. Young people's emotions fluctuate wildly, peaks and valleys. With life experience, the elderly gain emotional stability. For example, stress decreases after 50. Gallup surveyed 1.5 million Americans about significant stress the previous day. Over half of 18 to 50-year-olds said yes, but just 20% of 50 to 70-year-olds, a dramatic drop. Even with similar jobs, families, and health, the elderly feel less stress. Psychiatrists also find the elderly are less depression-prone. As noted earlier, Europeans in their 40s are the biggest antidepressant users, while surveys show only 1 to 4% of the elderly suffer depression. The author believes this is partly due to reduced stress in the elderly. Additionally, rich life experience helps seniors face challenges calmly, maintain better moods, and feel less regret besides reduced stress. German psychologists conducted an experiment where elderly and young groups played a gold nugget game. Continuing could gain more or lose everything. Using MRI scans, they monitored brain regions generating regret in participants. When losing all gold, seniors' regret-related brain areas showed less activity than youths, indicating fewer emotional fluctuations. So, facing midlife lows, we can learn from seniors' wisdom to enhance life satisfaction. The second strategy for midlife lows is self-help. The author offers mindset adjustments to tackle emotional challenges. Here are 4 actionable tips. First, normalization. To the author, the midlife low resembles adolescence. At both stages, people feel dissatisfied, confused, and emotionally chaotic. This occurs during life transitions, preparing us for next phases. Changing values and thinking patterns cause inner conflict, but patience carries us through naturally.
Thus, view the midlife low rightly, not a psychological issue, character flaw, or personal failure.
It's a natural evolutionary transition phase. Everyone experiences this, bringing 2 benefits. First, we avoid feeling abnormal about low moods, preventing self-reinforcing emotional cycles. Second, knowing midlife dips and later rises are universal gives hopeful expectations, boosting satisfaction. Second tip, interrupt inner criticism. Under unconscious thinking, we constantly compare ourselves to others, obsessing over unachieved goals, breeding negativity. The author suggests personifying these criticisms. When they nitpick, say, I needn't be perfect or compare with others. Practice makes this reflexive. Once we catch ourselves self-criticizing internally, we counter it to avoid spiraling into dissatisfaction. The third tip is living in the present. Midlife brings disappointment about the past and pessimism about the future, driving happiness to its lowest. Shifting focus from past or future to current life reduces negative emotions. Many mind-body practices can help achieve this. For instance, in meditation, we focus on present breath and bodily sensations, letting chaotic thoughts pass. Substantial scientific evidence confirms meditation reduces anxiety and boosts positive feelings. Studies show the amygdala is the brain's origin point for fear and anxiety. Meditation lowers amygdala activity, curbs negativity, and cultivates calm, acceptance, and tolerance. Many corporations and militaries now use meditation for employee emotional regulation. Psychologist Haidt strongly recommends meditation too. Daily practice for months significantly reduces fear, negativity, and fixation, improving mood. Beyond meditation, any present-focused training yields similar effects. Options like yoga, tai chi, or even regular exercise. Choose what suits you best. The fourth tip is finding appropriate new goals. Amid midlife lows, many fantasize about escaping jobs or families for a new life, an irrational impulse that usually fails. But choosing suitable goals provides sustained satisfaction during pursuit. Though satisfaction fades post-achievement, the process itself makes us feel better. We feel improved, less depressed or anxious, while gaining life experience. So what goals fit? The author argues new goals should extend existing experience, not abandon your life path.
Take the author. As a journalist, writing novels would mean starting from zero, clearly unviable.
At 50, the author started a news-related company, leveraging his journalism experience and contacts, with sufficient savings to control risks, a fitting new goal. The third strategy for midlife lows is mutual aid, using collective strength to navigate crisis. The author believes society should support middle-aged people more, helping them draw strength from relationships. Many organizations now address midlife emotional issues. The book introduces 3 mutual support methods. First, companies provide coaching to help employees examine values. Leo Burnett, a world-renowned ad agency, employs dozens of dedicated coaches to help midlife staff explore values. As noted earlier, self-centered values face challenges in midlife. People feel life falls short, unsure what truly matters. This confusion breeds emotional turmoil. Coaches encourage value reassessment through targeted questions, like, what values matter most to you? If you had unlimited time and resources, what would you do? When do you feel overwhelmed? Through these reflections, employees reorganize their lives and values. This program is hugely popular. A Leo Burnett client director told the author, life must hold more than replying to emails at 5 a.m. Crucially, having someone pose thoughtful questions about values is immensely helpful. Second method, building peer support circles. The book highlights Transition Network, a nonprofit creating communities for women navigating midlife. Groups of 8 to 12 meet monthly to discuss topics like emotional burdens or fulfillment sources. We Here people find safe spaces to share struggles, realizing they're not alone, bringing profound comfort. Those who've overcome midlife lows also share experience-based advice to help others through. The third form of mutual support is providing new job opportunities for middle-aged and elderly individuals. As values shift, more middle-aged and elderly people pursue work that benefits others and society. Some wish to transition to more meaningful careers. Others, though retired, want to rejoin the workforce. Advances in healthcare keep many healthy enough to work with high motivation. A survey shows about 20 million Americans aged 50 to 70 want to return to work. Over half aged 65 to 74 remain employed. Many retirees blend work, learning, leisure, and volunteering. Thus, creating opportunities boosts their satisfaction and societal value. But reintegrating older adults faces practical hurdles requiring systemic support. For example, agencies offering career counseling or job fairs, schools providing skills training. Preparation for new roles is key. Since older adults may have slower reflexes or memory, employers should offer suitable positions and flexible hours. Many organizations are already making efforts. For instance, AARP runs the Reimagine Life website, aiding retirees with life planning, work, and training. Other nonprofits match older adults' strengths to suitable part-time work. All right, let's summarize the second part. 3 strategies for the midlife happiness dip. First, leveraging seniors' wisdom. Second, self-help mindset adjustments. Third, accessing more societal resources and support. With this, we've nearly covered your happiness curve. It's normal for middle-aged people to be in this happiness trough. It's just a transitional phase.
Knowing this helps us calmly face midlife emotions and maintain hope for the future.
All right, your happiness curve. That concludes our interpretation of this book. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.